The morning sun filtered through the tall pines as Marcus Chen pulled his black SUV into the secluded clearing. His 8-year-old daughter Emma bounced in the back seat, her small face pressed against the window. "Daddy, are we really going to see the old cabin?" she asked, her voice filled with excitement. Marcus smiled in the rearview mirror. "That's right, sweetheart. Grandpa's old hunting cabin. I thought it was time we visited it together." As a successful tech entrepreneur, Marcus rarely had time for such trips. But Emma had been asking about her grandfather's stories, and something deep inside him yearned for this connection to simpler times. The cabin had been in his family for generations, tucked away in these quiet woods outside Portland. They parked and began walking down the overgrown trail. Emma skipped ahead, collecting interesting stones and pointing out squirrels. Marcus felt his shoulders relax for the first time in months. The pressures of running his company, the endless meetings, the constant worry about providing for Emma as a single father, all of it seemed to fade among these towering trees. "Daddy, look," Emma called out, pointing to something white through the trees. Marcus followed her gaze and froze. There, leaning against an old oak tree, was a woman in a wedding dress. Her blonde hair fell in gentle waves around her shoulders, and she appeared to be chained to the tree. "Emma, stay right here," Marcus said firmly, his protective instincts kicking in. He approached cautiously, his heart racing. As he got closer, he could see the woman was conscious but exhausted. Her dress, though dirty, was beautiful, white silk with delicate lace sleeves. The chain around her wrist was connected to a heavy metal collar around the tree trunk. "Ma'am, are you all right?" Marcus called out softly. The woman looked up, and Marcus was struck by her clear blue eyes. Despite her situation, there was no fear in them, only a weary resignation. "You can call the police if you want," she said quietly. "Though I suppose it won't matter much now." Marcus pulled out his phone, but there was no signal in these deep woods. He moved closer, examining the chain. It wasn't locked. It was latched with a simple mechanism. "What happened to you?" he asked gently. The woman, who couldn't have been more than 30, let out a tired laugh. "My name is Sarah Mitchell, and this is what happens when you try to run away from your own wedding." "I don't understand." Sarah looked toward Emma, who was still waiting patiently by the trail, then back at Marcus. "My fiancé, Richard, is a very controlling man. I didn't realize how controlling until this morning. When I tried to leave, to call off the wedding, he and his friends brought me out here. Said I needed time to think about my responsibilities." Marcus felt anger rising in his chest. "They chained you to a tree?" "Richard owns a lot of land around here. He said no one would find me until I agreed to go through with the marriage." Sarah's voice was calm, but Marcus could hear the underlying pain. "I've been here since yesterday." Without hesitation, Marcus reached for the latch. The chain fell away easily. "You're free," he said simply. Sarah rubbed her wrist and stood up slowly. "Thank you, but I don't know where to go. Richard has connections everywhere. My family thinks this marriage is a good idea. He's wealthy, established. They don't see what I see. Daddy?" Emma had crept closer, her young face full of concern. "Is the pretty lady okay?" Marcus looked at his daughter, then at Sarah. In that moment, he made a decision that surprised even himself. "Would you like to come with us? Just until you figure things out. I have a guest room, and you'll be safe." Sarah stared at him. "You don't even know me." "I know enough," Marcus said. "I know that no one deserves to be treated like this, and I know what it's like to feel alone." As they walked back toward the car, Sarah told her story. She had been a teacher before Richard convinced her to quit her job. Slowly, he had isolated her from friends, controlled her finances, made her dependent on him. The wedding was supposed to be the final step in his control. "I kept telling myself it would get better," Sarah said, her voice barely above a whisper. "That maybe I was being too sensitive. Marcus understood that feeling, the doubt, the second-guessing. After his wife died 3 years ago, he had thrown himself into work, questioning every decision about Emma, every choice about their future. Emma walked between them, occasionally reaching up to take Sarah's hand. There was something natural about the three of them together, something that felt right in a way Marcus hadn't experienced in years. At the cabin, they found evidence of Sarah's ordeal: food wrappers, a sleeping bag, signs that someone had been monitoring her. Marcus took photos with his phone for evidence. "We'll go to the police station as soon as we get back to town," he promised. The drive back was quiet but comfortable. Emma chattered about school and her friends, and Sarah listened with genuine interest. Marcus found himself stealing glances at Sarah in the passenger seat, struck by her resilience. At the police station, Sarah's story was taken seriously. Richard was arrested that evening, and his friends were questioned. The whole conspiracy unraveled quickly once authorities got involved. 3 weeks later, Sarah was staying in Marcus's guest room and helping Emma with her homework. She had found a new teaching position and was slowly rebuilding her life. Marcus found himself looking forward to coming home each evening, to the sound of laughter from the kitchen, to Sarah's gentle presence in their lives. One evening, as they sat on the porch watching Emma play in the yard, Sarah turned to Marcus. "I never thanked you properly," she said, "not just for helping me that day, but for giving me a place to heal." Marcus looked at her, at this strong woman who had survived something terrible and was building herself back up from nothing. "We all need a safe place sometimes," he said. "I never thought I'd trust anyone again," Sarah admitted. "But you and Emma, you've shown me what kindness really looks like." Emma ran up to them, grass stains on her knees and joy on her face. "Sarah, will you read me a story tonight?" "Of course, sweetheart." As Marcus watched his daughter take Sarah's hand and lead her inside, he realized that sometimes the most important rescues happen quietly in small acts of daily kindness. Sometimes, saving someone else saves you too. The woods had brought them together in crisis, but it was in the gentle rhythm of ordinary days that they had found something extraordinary. A family built not on obligation or control, but on choice, respect, and love. 6 months later, Marcus would propose to Sarah in those same woods, but this time under the old oak tree where they first met, with Emma as their witness and the afternoon sun streaming through the branches above. But that's another story entirely.